Hello, my lovelies, my darlings, and welcome to this slightly different video to what I'm normally doing. A little bit of film analysis and relating Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein to concept of the divine feminine. A little notification, I had to swipe away there. But that sounds like a confirmation that this is the right thing. This film has been living in my mind rent-free since I watched it. So if you haven't watched it, go do that. But I'm going to try not to include any spoilers, so you don't have to have seen it to be watching this video. That's the hope anyway. I'll edit it out if I feel like I've said too much. Let's dive in. I've got some very chaotic looking notes over here. But firstly, I actually I pulled a little tarot card from my Earth Alchemy Oracle Deck, and this one is Candle Quartz and Bleeding Heart. So it's about crystals and plants, flowers of the earth. And this says show yourself, and it's the earth element, and it says vulnerability, self-worth, and feminine healing. Now, this could be nice to come back to at the end of the video, but this is so spot on for what we're going to be talking about. So the media coverage that Frankenstein is getting is, like, quite rightly skyrocketing, and I feel like this is the film that we as humanity needed right now. Just point blank, because Guillermo Del Toro is an absolute movie making genius. Like, he just pumps out masterpiece after masterpiece. But this film was on his radar. He wanted to make this pretty much since he started making films, he says. It's almost like his own Frankenstein's creature, you know. I want to avoid using the word monster because it's not really a monster, is it? If you know, you know. So it's really, the main message of the film is about, it's not about creation and making a creature. It's not about a mad scientist. It's an allegory for the cycles of abuse, for woundings in parents and how they pass that on to their children, particularly woundings in the masculine, the wounded masculine. So yeah, this is about the wounded masculine, Victor. We see, sort of begins looking at his backstory first, and it starts, he's like, my dad, boom, let's roll it back. And it's about him lacking feminine softness growing up, lacking a feminine influence in his life as a growing, developing boy when he needed it most. His mother wasn't around, so it was only his dad, who was very harsh, who would beat him, who wouldn't offer him any love, sensitivity, kindness, all of those traits that we associate with the feminine. Although that's not to say that masculine isn't capable of that, because absolutely everyone is capable of this. And as I'm talking about the feminine and the masculine, just as a little side note, it's not restricted to gender. Like, we all embody aspects of the feminine, the masculine within us, the moon and the sun. That's all within you, just so you're following with me. But he was lacking a feminine influence in his life growing up at a key age, and his father was dominant and abusive. And it lit this fire and this spirit of competitiveness in Victor. He wanted to outdo his father's achievements. He wanted to go where his father couldn't in medicine and science. So it was an ego-led ambition, and he's essentially battling with ghosts of the past. And in striving for something, in striving for an achievement that isn't based in divine love, unconditional love, because that would embody forgiveness. That would include him having to forgive his dad. In pursuing his ambition of creating a creature from an ego place, he realizes he's not capable of actually following through with it. And he says, I never planned for after creation. You know, after he makes the creature, he's like, I'm stunted, because he essentially becomes a single dad. And he's like, and of course, that's where these cycles then begin to rehash themselves in his trying to teach the creature how to speak, how to understand the world around him. He begins to replicate the abusive traits of his father, because of course he begins to become what he hated, what he despised, because he didn't forgive his father. And that cycles back to, that's the only way to end the cycle of abuse. It ends only with heartfelt forgiveness, and that's the takeaway at the end of the film. Forgiveness, letting the past be the past and moving on. Because Victor was not ready to be confronted with his flaws and the wounds of his past, and that's essentially what happened when he made the creature. It's like the creature serves as a mirror to all of Victor's darkness, all of the things that he had been running from confronting within himself. And because the creature is a mirror, he hates and blames the creature, even though the creature never asked to be created. And yes, so enough on the wounded masculine and those cycles of abuse, because we're talking about the rise of the divine feminine. And Elizabeth, the character, so it's Victor's brother's fiancée, she represents the divine feminine. She is the allegory for the divine feminine, and this is what Del Toro has said in interviews himself, that she represents Earth. She is like Mother Earth. She has an affinity with insects. She loves all of God's creations equally, and she sees them as perfect as they were made. And that's something that not everyone can look at something like a beetle or a moth and extend adoration towards it. But that is the power of the feminine, to look into the eyes of Frankenstein's creature and see innocence, see life and love it unconditionally. Ooh, I'm feeling chills. That is where Victor was lacking, because he was not loving the creature, his creation, unconditionally. He was getting frustrated with it for not being able to pick up language at the pace that he felt was quick enough. He was not extending unconditional love and acceptance towards him, towards the creature. Whereas Elizabeth does. She allows herself to be vulnerable. Like in this scene, where she first sees the creature, she starts to take off her veil and her hat and her gloves, and it's like she is peeling back the layers of self, and she is allowing herself to be seen for who she truly is. She is allowing herself to be vulnerable to this new being, to this creature. And that's the energy of the card. Vulnerability. I'll put it up in a bit. So yeah, she embodies those divine feminine aspects. She is empathetic. She is patient. She is nurturing. She is empowered in herself. And therefore she is indomitable. So at one point, Victor wants her. He doesn't want, she senses She knows that he would seek to dominate and to control her, just as Victor's father controlled and dominated his mother. She senses that, and she sees his wounds, she sees his narcissistic traits, and she doesn't think, as the wounded feminine would, I can fix him. Oh, it's my job to fix him. No. She turns tail and runs back to Victor's brother, who is a secure masculine, who would provide her with the security that was needed at that time. It's set in like Victorian England, so women's social standing was very much dependent on who they married. But back to Elizabeth, she protects her peace. She knows, embodied in her divine feminine, that she is like, I am not going to jeopardize my peace by trying to save this man who is not willing to save himself. Boom. So yeah, rolling it back to Mary Shelley, because she wrote this about her father. It's all, that's what it's about, pretty much. Okay, hello. We had to do a little bit of a scene change. The divine feminine within Frankenstein. The reason that things turn a bit sour, to say the least, and it is because Victor, as a man, attempts to create, and he succeeds in creating life. He mimics God, and not only that, but he also takes on the role of a woman in that. He has to be both man and woman to create a child. But in terms of raising that child, because the creature is a child, he doesn't have the feminine influence. So he only greets it with what he knows, which is harshness. That's how he was raised. And the healthy masculine, the divine masculine, is one who leads by example, courageous, strong. They don't abuse or manipulate or attempt to control or dominate. That's the wounded masculine. And as we see the divine feminine rise within society, within ourselves, you will begin to see that the masculine will rise to match it. But there still has to be that celebration of the feminine, because me speaking to you on the other side of this screen, whoever you are, you were brought into this world by a woman. There is absolutely, that is categorical. You were brought into this world by the feminine. And yes, in the initial conception, a man was necessary and was needed. And the thing is that throughout that pregnancy process, and then the labour process, as it is a labour, it is a work, giving birth. The masculine's energy, the stable, strong leadership is also needed throughout that, because as a woman is creating life, she cannot do that by herself. The quote, it takes a village to raise a child. Absolutely. But it also absolutely takes feminine and masculine. And this is not to... This is also inclusive of queer couples and anyone who doesn't quite identify with those gender roles. There will still be aspects of the divine counterparts that are being embodied within those roles. You follow me? If you follow me, you follow me. So we got a little off topic there, but I'm going to read this card, the meaning of this card from the book. Candle quartz and bleeding heart. Show yourself. Vulnerability, self-worth, feminine healing. And it is in the sign of water. Your emotions. Come close and listen carefully, for my voice is often felt as a whisper. I am the divine feminine within you that wishes to be seen. I speak to the flame in your heart that sometimes wavers in doubt. I offer the keys of the white flame of purity so that through me you can see your pure divine nature. My energy opens and magnetizes cosmic currents to be felt at the physical layer. I sing with bleeding heart to your crown chakra to release access to your higher vibrational aspects so you may see and feel your true self. Our nature is one of movement. We ask you to move your body through expressive dance, to become in tune with your body's flow. It will help you identify and move blocked energies you are working through. My medicine is not of cleansing or removing as some stones assist in. It is one of enlightenment through the purity of your heart, of clear vision and communication. I help you feel the hurts you hold more clearly. I help lift them to the surface. The hurts along with the feminine are rising through you, and I will hold a space for you to feel them fully in my white spheres of light. I draw in the flames of your heart to gently warm you, to help you ground and nurture yourself through your heart, higher heart and crown. And if you're not familiar with those chakras, this is where the heart is. The higher heart is in the chest, and the crown is here, slightly above your head. And I'm feeling like I've got to move through some resistance in my throat. I want to get this message out there. I have been named candle quartz because of my appearance. It looks as though I have wax dripping down my termination point. The dripping also symbolizes the flow of a watery release. To you and I, they are tears. The feminine side of you needs to show and express your vulnerability in order to grow. Don't be scared to show your vulnerability to others. It is not a weakness, it is a strength. And most importantly, it inspires others. You are a visionary and a leader and need to surrender and soften more to this role, showing yourself fully because all parts of you are love and divine. What feelings does this stir for you? Perhaps the words visionary and leader hold weight with you. Hold these feelings in this moment and observe them. This is important for growth. If it triggers fear, rejection, or self-worth issues, then we have work to do, dear friend. Whoa, I'm feeling that. And these yawns coming up for me are releasing and feeling those energies, allowing them to move through me, like the candle quartz is channeling through. And I feel like that vulnerability is very empowering, and that is definitely what Elizabeth is representing in the film. That she allows herself to be seen in her true femininity. She doesn't hide it away. And it is her greatest strength because she is able to tap into her intuition, her empathy. She reads people, she knows, she sees beyond the physical. And it's a strength because it allows her to be a leader as much as society enabled her to at the time. That femininity was her strength. Elizabeth is the only one who sees the creature and sees its innocence rather than seeing it as a monstrosity or an abomination of something that goes against God's creation. She sees the innocence and the purity and the grace that is innate within all things, that childlike innocence. And Jacob Elordi, his performance was outstanding for that. And Guillermo Del Toro says that he casts by the eyes, by looking into the eyes, and he saw that Jacob Elordi held that purity, that innocence. That was perfect for the creature. But yeah, I'd actually like to go back to how Candle Quartz was talking about, do the words visionary and leader hold weight with you? Hold these feelings in this moment and observe them. If it triggers fear, rejection, or self-worth issues, then we have work to do. And I was thinking about it in terms of the masculine is the one that is seen as the leader, the one that charges ahead, the one that takes action. And that is the masculine. The masculine is action. But leading can be done with softness and with femininity. It doesn't have to... I think a lot of what I've seen and witnessed sort of third hand, second hand within the corporate world, because thank God I'm not involved in that, no fucking way, is women of a certain generation, so sort of my parents' generation and before, who were making it, charging ahead in their career And they, at a certain point, had to choose between starting a family or charging ahead with their career. And that feels like two split aspects of a person, and that is something that feels inevitable within this society, is that you need someone to be a homemaker, and that role often lands on the woman's lap. But for those women who didn't choose that, who didn't choose family and children and making a home for themselves, hold resentment, and they charge it out towards others because they are embodied into their masculine, because it was their way of surviving within a corporate world, within a corporate sphere. They had to be the one, they had to sort of reject their femininity in order to push ahead with their masculine. So if that's bringing things up for you, if that's triggering things, sit with those feelings, because this is what the feminine is. It sits with, and it observes, and it holds space for. And that's as Elizabeth does in the film. And I'll put up a thing here of when she just sits with the candlestick, and she just sits and looks at the creature, and he offers her a leaf. But it's just in sitting with him, in holding space. She doesn't need to speak to him. She doesn't need him to be learning words and saying things like Victor does. She just is, and she just holds that space. And that's the power of the feminine. That's that feminine leadership. It's holding space for, room to grow, room to expand. Those are the capabilities of the feminine. So, there's my really chaotic, all over the place video. If you enjoyed this wild ride, then like, comment, subscribe. I want to hear your thoughts on the film, or thoughts like what came up for you in this video, what came up for you in the film. Like I know that a lot of women felt that maternal urge, that instinct to care for and protect the creature, because it's a tough watch, but it's so amazing. It is such a beautiful film. So those are my takeaways. Go and sit with the feelings that came up for you. Hold space for yourself and send love to all parts of yourself, especially the parts of you that have experienced pain and hurt and trauma. Let's do that now. Just taking a deep breath in and sigh it out. And again. And hold it. Sigh it out. And allow your breath to return to normal, but just bringing awareness to your breath. And you can conjure up an image of your inner child, of the little you, the one that deserved love. That was all they ever wanted. And perhaps they didn't get it. You can offer that love to yourself now. You can hold them and you can say, I see you. I see you as you are, and I love you unconditionally. Breathe into that. Allow any emotions to surface that do. You can see yourself hugging or comforting little you. And this is just a short little exercise, but you can bring yourself back whenever you're ready. I'm going to close out today's video with the bell. I love you. You are inherently